This over-under betting strategy is one of the easiest ways to profit from football. Why? Because 74% of Major League matches have at least one goal in the second half. In this video, I'll break it down into 3 simple steps so that anyone can follow, backed up by a real-world example to show you how it works. You'll learn how to reduce risk, maximise returns, and build a strategy that delivers long-term profitable results over time. So let's dive straight into step 1, because preparation makes everything that follows easier. So let's explore how to do it properly. First of all, we need to look for matches where teams have a history of scoring, particularly in the second half. Now think about it. How many games have you seen that explode into life after half time? That's exactly what we're looking for here. Now, there are multiple places to do it, but tools like Soccer Stats list performance statistics for goals in each half. So finding a team with a 70% or higher second half scoring rate in their last 10 matches is significant, because it's exactly the kind of pattern that we want to find, as you'll see in the example in just a second. You can find them by selecting the relevant league, season, and then the half-time stats. Now next, we need to identify matches that are likely to start cautiously. Games with high stakes often see less action in the first half. For example, crucial league matches, cup finals, and relegation battles nearly always start slow before opening up in the second half. No doubt you'll have probably seen that happen in the past too. Motivation for goals is a critical factor. Ask yourself, why do teams want to score? Is there a lot at stake, or are they fighting just to avoid that relegation? A mid-table clash might lack urgency, but when a team has something to gain or lose, their playing style often reflects it and changes in the second half. Now, we want to aim for matches where 1 to 2 goals are likely, because that is the sweet spot. Teams with a strong defence and decent attacking potential create the kind of balance this strategy thrives on, as you'll see in the next step. A little preparation goes a long way, but don't be too rigid. We need some flexibility for when it comes to placing our first bet and watching the match. The example in step 2 will highlight what I mean. So one of the biggest advantages with this strategy is the control you have over when you place a bet. Think of it like a boxing match where you don't have to step into the ring until your opponent is already on their knees, because we're only going to bet if the game aligns with the previous step's research, which is exactly what we're going to do here with this example on the screen now. But it's only one part of the equation, because we need to get a great price. Value bets are crucial, which is why I'd recommend using SharpX Exchange. With low commission and best prices, it's the best deal on offer. Bookmakers like Bet365 factor big margins into their prices to make money, whereas betting exchanges have no margin at all. Instead, winners pay a small commission on profits. Now, if the first half is unfolding as expected with both teams playing cautiously, it's time to take the next step. Here's what we do. At halftime or early in the second half, we place a lay bet on the under 1.5 goals line. For clarity, we're betting against there being 1.5 goals here. Ideally, the exchange's betting odds will be between 1.4 and 1.6 for this bet. This odds range minimises the financial downside whilst providing a strong upside. Why? Because at short odds, a 50% loss only represents 25% of the potential upside. For example, a lay bet with a stake of 100 at 1.5 means that the maximum liability is 50, so a 50% loss is just 25. However, the maximum profit on this situation is of course 100. It's a calculated trade-off for what's about to follow in just a moment. In this example between West Ham and Crystal Palace, the lay bet would be placed at a price of 1.56. So 100 lay stake would mean a maximum liability of 56. Now both teams failed to score in the first half, although pre-match analysis coupled with what was actually happening on the pitch suggested that there's likely to be a goal later on. So at this stage, we've created a low risk bet and set ourselves up for some success. But this is just the beginning, because step 3 is where the betting strategy really comes interesting. Now that we've placed our opening bet, it's time to monitor the match and react to what actually unfolds. And this is the most exciting part of the betting strategy, because there are 4 options that can play out. Each of them offer a chance to manage risk and maximise returns. So let's go through each of them one at a time with the example to help explain. So imagine the game is still at 0-0 by the 70th minute and play is still actually quite dull. Now at this point the odds for the under 1.5 goals would have dropped significantly. It's the worst case scenario, and although unlikely, we need to minimise the financial pain. So once the odds drop to around 50% of our opening bet's price, we cash out for a partial loss. For example, that would mean a price of 1.28. It means we lose 50% of our lay bet's liability, but remember, because we entered at short odds, it only represents 25% of the first bet's potential upside. For clarity, this means that option 1's potential loss is just 28 quid. The key here is discipline. We must avoid temptation to let it run. If the game isn't aligning with expectations, it's better to cut the losses and move on to the next one where an enhanced profit is waiting, which leads me on to option number 2. Now let's say there's a goal at the 48th minute, and there actually was in this example. The betting odds for the under 1.5 goals market will naturally shoot up, as you can see on the chart on screen. There are several options depending on how you want to play it, but this option is to immediately cash out and lock in a profit at the available price. It depends on how far into the match we are, but the chances are that the odds will double at this point, giving us a 50% profit on our lay bet stake, which is 100% of the potential liability at risk, in the example's case, 56 quid. This is the safest and simplest way to secure a win. But option 3 is a little bit different. We've got the upper hand here on the market, but don't want to miss out on a sizable win. So we can eliminate all liability by placing the back bet on the under 1.5 goals market at the new price of 3.45 for 22.85. This guarantees no loss and provides us with a risk-free bet on there being another goal. If the game ends with just one goal, you break even with no loss and no profit. However, if there is a second goal, you secure that chunkier profit. Given the prices in our example, the potential upside would be 77.15 if another goal goes in. For those who strongly believe there's another goal coming, it minimises the downside if they're wrong. Lastly, there's option 4, and it's the most favourable option for many. So you let the bet run in the anticipation of there being another goal for maximum return, your entire lay stake, but with a twist. In our example's case, this would obviously mean that total stake of 100 as profit. However, as the game plays out, the under 1.5 goals market will gradually start to tick back down to shorter odds because a second goal has not yet been scored. Now, if the second goal goes in, then great, we've banked that maximum win of 100. But if the second goal doesn't come, we monitor the in-play betting odds until they reach our original lay bet's entry price, where we can cash out for no loss at all. Because of course, we're back in to the same lay odds and for the same stake at exactly the same price. Now, in our example's case, this would have been the final outcome in the 78th minute, as you can see here on the screen. By following this structured approach, we limit your downside, but maximise your potential upside and stay in control. Similar to the betting strategy here in the end screen for both teams to score markets, they're another great way of profiting from football. So thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.